Our next voice note is from Simon.
Simon.
Dear Jill, I'm facing a weird problem that started a few weeks ago. Been in a relationship now for a few months, and the man I'm with is much more of a texter. He doesn't like to call, whereas I like to call. And I told him I prefer and love being called every day. So we decided to take turns where he'll call me and I'll call him. But all of a sudden, he stopped calling again. I've told him that it feels kind of weird if I'm the one always calling, where he says it doesn't matter who's calling who. But after chatting it through, he said he avoids calls as he has to be on client calls all day and it gives him a headache. And so I was okay with this initially, but it's been 2 days we haven't called each other. Like I know he's busy with work and he's got, meeting friends, which is all fine. And we do keep in touch by text. We go on dates, we see each other weekly, but I feel like I'm the only one who still calls, although he does initiate texting. Am I asking too much?
You know what, Simon? I do know a lot of people who don't like calling. I think what might be hard in this situation is that he did try to meet you. He did try and compromise and say, okay, I don't like calling, but we'll call each other every day, but we'll take it in turns, which doesn't seem like a big deal to me. That does not, honestly, believe me, if I thought my partner had a problem with calling me once a day, that would really upset me, that they thought that they wouldn't want to. But I'm trying to be really gracious and think about it really in terms of people who really genuinely just, they find calls quite intimidating. They don't really know what to say. They worry about conversations stopping. They're sort of more awkward on a call than they feel like they are on a text. But I totally can see your point of view. And if you're in a relationship, texting just feels, to me, like slightly immature. That it could just be something more than that. So I guess I would have another conversation with him. And I would say, I know you don't like calls. How about, does he like FaceTime? Or is that what you're doing, FaceTime? Because the thing is, I prefer FaceTime to phone calls. Because I think when you're on a phone call, if there's any sort of gap or pause in the conversation, it makes people panic. Like they don't know what to say and they don't know what to do next. Whereas when you're on FaceTime, like there's natural pauses, or somebody might react to something you say and you say, oh, you look cute when you did that, or oh, that was sweet, or I want to, you comment on the way they look, or even what they're wearing, or where are you? I can see there's something behind you. So anyway, I don't know if that's what you're doing, but if you're not, I would definitely try to FaceTime if you can. If he really hates that as well, you could say, I mean, a voice note even would be nicer than a text, surely. At least it's a bit of you're feeling like you can hear the emotion even in the voice, because that's what you miss with a text, isn't it? There's often not a lot of emotion to it. And I've got some friends who really hate voice notes, and I will voice note them and they will just text back. No matter how many times I voice note them, they will just text me back. But yeah, I really get where you're coming from. I would feel exactly the same as you, but I'm trying to be really understanding and really generous here. And I'm going to try and I'm going to admit that I do know people who really hate phone calls and who struggle with them. So ask if there's some alternatives that you might like, just a FaceTime or something like that, or a cup of tea and a Zoom or something just for half an hour. I can see what he's saying about being on meetings all day and having to sort of stare at screens. So that might be something that he just doesn't want to do. But I think just, if you explain why you want the call, and I'm presuming the reason why is the reason why I would want to call is because I want to hear the voice. I want to hear the feeling. I want to hear the emotion. You get so much more from hearing someone's voice than you would ever from a text. So just have another conversation and see where it goes. And even if you come to, I don't know, another compromise, which is, we'll have phone calls, 3 times a week, and then the rest of the time we don't have to. But I think you got to meet in the middle somewhere. What's your feeling around phone calls, Emma?
I used to have massive anxiety.
Yeah.
making a call, answering a call, calling the doctors.
And what's in that?
It's what you said, and I don't think I realised it till you said it. It's that you don't know. You want to fill the silence.
Yes.
You don't know how they're feeling, where they are, what they're doing, why they've had a silence, or they don't like me all of a sudden, that sort of thing. And on top of that, I always, when you text me,
Mm-hmm.
and I still do this now, if anyone ever texts me, I always read it angrily. So someone could say, "Oh, what you doing? Oh, what you doing?" And I'd read it, "What you doing?" And I have to tell myself, sometimes like an emoji can save the day for me, because it's "what you doing" smiley face. What you doing?
So where are you at now? Do you prefer a voice note?
Yes.
Yes, because you like to hear.
FaceTime, a voice note. Lovely.
And I do think that we're all just completely different, and we all have different like sensory kind of experiences. And like for somebody that doesn't read texts, in a defensive way like that, they're fine with that. They don't think that at all. But I totally get where you're coming from. There's there's a way to misinterpret something so easily on a text, but then for someone on a phone call, and I was like that when I was younger as well. I just, oh God, any silence whatsoever, I always thought it was my responsibility to fill the gap. And I think that's why even now I kind of just prefer a FaceTime or a voice note. But I think if you're in a relationship, I think you've got to get to the point where your communication is a bit stronger than that, don't you? Mm-hmm. But mind, I do really sympathise with people who have to be on call all day, every day. Imagine that. You're on. In fact, I've got a friend who says that, and she'll say to me, we don't live close to each other, and she does a lot of online work, and she'll say, Jill, I would really love to chat to you or to FaceTime, but I've literally spent the last 8 hours doing it. And when I log off, I just for the rest of the night, I don't want to have to do it. Obviously, we make it work and stuff like that, but I get it. But, I think you just got to meet in the middle somewhere. Just get something you're both happy with.